Evening, everybody, and welcome to Story Hour. I'm your host, Daniel Marcus. My co-host is Laura Blackwell. And we continue to ride out the pandemic, shut in and locked down and sheltering in place, possibly going a little stir crazy and looking for ways to entertain ourselves and each other. Story Hour turns to the second oldest form of entertainment in human history, which is basically a couple of people sitting around the fire telling lies, spinning dreams. So each week, we've got two writers, 30 minutes each. That's it. No filler, not a speck of cereal. A little bit of self-promotion because, we're writers, but that's okay. Tonight is our 3-month anniversary, which is pretty cool. Every week since mid-April, we've been privileged to bring you really exciting work from terrific writers, from new folks to old pros and everything in between. And it's been a real privilege to be able to do that. And tonight is no exception. We've got S.B Divya and Laurence Raphael Brothers. I'm really happy to have them here. Before we get started, if you're fortunate enough to be able to help others during the current soft apocalypse, please consider the following two very worthy organizations. Shanti Bhavan empowers children from India's lowest socioeconomic class to break the cycle of generational poverty through education, leadership, and compassion. That's shantibhavanchildren.org. Laura, have you slammed the URL into the chat window? So I don't have to spell it out then. Cool. Thank you. The California Immigrant Resilience Fund provides urgently needed support for the 2 million undocumented Californians, your neighbors, if you're Californians, even if you're not, who are facing extreme economic conditions as a result of COVID-19. So that's immigrantfundca.org. If you're here via Zoom, please mute your mic, but feel free to leave your camera on if you're so inclined, and feel free to use chat. Our Facebook Live friends, feel free to comment as well, although of course we can't see you. Of course, I'm excited about both of our authors tonight, but having one of them here in particular is very personally rewarding for me. So for about 8 years, I taught classes in science fiction and fantasy short story writing online at Gotham Writers Workshop, which is a terrific organization, the largest non-university affiliated writing program in the country. They've got a broad online presence as well as brick and mortar in New York City. S.B Divya was one of my students, and I'm just really thrilled to have her here tonight. So it's very exciting. So S.B Divya, she's a lover of science and math, fiction, and the Oxford comma. She's Hugo and Nebula nominated author of Runtime and co-editor of Escape Pod, along with Mur Lafferty. Her short stories have been published in various venues, and her debut novel, Machine Hood, is forthcoming from Saga Press in March 2021. Congrats, that's awesome. She holds degrees in computational neuroscience and signal processing. Find her on Twitter at Divya's Tweets or at www.words.com. So Divya, it's great to see you here. Take it away.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Today I'm going to be reading a story that originally appeared in Uncanny Magazine and is also the titular story of my short story collection, which is not out in the US yet, but is out from Hachette, India. You can occasionally find imported copies on Amazon.com. And without further ado, Contingency Plans for the Apocalypse. My apocalypse doesn't ride on horseback or raise the dead or add suns to the sky. It arrives by tank and drone, the strict report of automatic weapons, the spying eyes of neighbors. It seeks my spouse's life, mine too. I don't expect to survive. Chula has better odds. She is a 4-time triathlete, perfect eyesight, no injuries. She can lift our 6-year-old the way I haul a fire log. If anyone can outrun the law, it's Chula. When they come for us, I said after Kyla was born, you take the children and a backpack and head for the safe house. Chula's blue eyes narrowed. And you'll catch up. You have a pack too. We'll go side by side, like always. Sure, if I'm alive. Her glare could melt Antarctica. And what if I'm dead instead of you? That's so much less likely. I wouldn't plan on it. She raised her pale brows to emphasize my hypocrisy, but I didn't care. If our survival depended on me, we were in trouble. Like any ordinary evening, I put the baby down in our room after feeding her. Night darkens the sky. We leave the lights off as much as possible to avoid surveillance from the outside. I trip over the corner of the dining room rug, the one that's bent upward from all the other times my foot caught it. My muscles are clumsy thanks to the polio redux pandemic, but I've had lots of practice at falling. I know how to avoid sprains and broken bones. I land on my forearms, nearly prone. A bullet sings over my head and penetrates Chula's. For 5 seconds, I freeze. For 5 seconds, I stop breathing. My mind refuses to accept the image in front of me. No, 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 no. The inhale comes in a rush. I move. Her neck has no pulse. I fling a blanket over my beloved's body and cover it all. The blonde hair now matted with blood. The shards of glass catching the streetlight. The limbs splayed like a sleeping toddler. The stain spreading outward on that rug, that thrice damned rug, which I will never see again. A yellow thread snags on the hinge of my wrist prosthesis. Chula's favorite color. I yank it out and stuff it into the center of my bra as I crawl across the room. More bullets trash our windows. A rubber band made of devastation tightens around my heart and lungs. I speak my farewell in my thoughts. To say it aloud is to provide evidence to the censors. I wish I had time to give Chula a farewell kiss. I wish she'd lived. I hope the people outside think we're both dead. In the windowless hall, I stand and run. My booted feet slam against hickory planks, our home improvement project from back before fear decorated our lives. Now we sleep in our clothes and wear shoes in the house. Photos flash by along the beige wall, memories outlined in black, all but the newest, the 4 of us huddled in bed after I gave birth to Kyla. That one I taped up unframed. It gives easily and fits in the back pocket of my jeans. I burst into our room and reach under the antique bed frame. I pull out my backpack, filled to 18 pounds, the same weight I carried across the Andes during our Choqquequirao trek. I was a decade younger and fitter then, but today I have to travel only 1/4 the distance. At sea level, that's manageable. It has to be. I tighten the straps on the pack. The baby sling hangs on one corner of the crib. Kyla whimpers as I snug her swaddled form against my torso. I lock my arm into a static, supportive position under her and turn it off to conserve battery. In the adjacent room, Miles hides under his bed like we taught him to. His dark curls catch the last light from the window. He has the same hair as his father, killed a year ago while attempting to cross the border. The very same one we're headed for. Time to go, baby, I whisper. He crawls out. Where's Chula? I failed to rehearse the words for this question because I didn't expect to be here. I'll explain later. Suspicion darkens his 6-year-old face, sets his jaw. Not a tantrum, not now, baby. Please, we gotta go. Don't forget Dino, I say. It's part distraction, part truth, but it works. Miles lunges for the stuffed Tyrannosaurus Rex and clasps it to his chest. We run to the side door and out into the chill night. Oh, I forgot the jackets. Did we pack jackets? But we can't turn back because the tank turret looms above the 4th house down the street. A white cover hides the surgical van beside the house. I don't dare use it, not with all that damning evidence inside, but I send it a silent farewell. Another tie to Chula, severed. We duck through the hidden door in the back fence, down the alley, across a demented mosaic of chipped stone and glass. I grab my phone and increase the light amplification in my implanted lenses. They told me it's an experimental technology with some risks. I told them to shut up and take my money. I follow the snaking line of the garden hose that surrounds a data cable, poached for my illegal purposes. The hose runs into a plain door set into a low building. I pull it free and fling it back toward the house. They can't know where we went. My thumb goes against the sensor lock. A light next to it blinks red. I curse under my breath and lick my too dry skin and try again. Turn green, turn green, turn green. Yes. I open the door. Where's Miles? He was just here. How could he? Oh, shit. Flames engulf our house and balloon outward. The light blows my vision, and all I see is a little shadow flying through the air away from the back fence toward me. Miles lands head first. A second rubber band made of recrimination constricts my heart and lungs. I run to my son, wrap my arm around his chest, and drag him through the door. I lay him down. Be alive. Please, baby, be alive. His chest rises and falls. Relief swims in dizzy circles around me. Dim red lights wake at our presence. Racks of servers line the walls. Bundles of cables stretch across the ceiling to a staircase dug through rock and earth. Our escape route normally ferries large quantities of data and the occasional service person. I peer into the gloom. I can't carry them both downstairs. God damn it, Chula, you should be here. I trip as I come off the last step and land on my knees rather than my newborn. Kyla fusses when I place her on the ground next to the backpack, but she doesn't raise a cry. I limp my way up to retrieve Miles, unlocking my prosthesis and powering it on as I climb. Once I have them both at the bottom, I allow myself a minute to breathe and listen. No sound penetrates from the outside. No door slams open above us. No one shouts. I pull the kill switch in the wall, our little modification. Dirt seals off the room above. The stairs end in nothing. We're in a tunnel lined with network access. I'd patch into a cable if I could, but it's all useless now. Instead, I grab my phone, which is nearly out of battery. We have a system across the family, a handful of sites where we leave nonsense text, meaningful only to one another. I write, had to visit the loo with the T-Rex and the raptor. Lost my other ring. I scan all the locations. My brother hasn't left a message in over a week. My parents and Chulas live in friendly states, thank goodness. 2 less things to worry about. Miles whimpers. In the glow from the screen, I see patches of crimson across my boy's skin. The soles of his shoes are melted to his feet. I shudder and banish the thought. He's breathing. He's alive. He'll be fine. He will. He has to be. The tunnel shivers around us. Dust motes dance in the artificial light. I shove the phone into my pocket. We can't linger too long. I consider the pack, sized for multi-day hikes. Miles is small for his age. Maybe. Out come the spare clothes, a multi-tool, a sticker book, hiking poles, diapers, formula, snack bars, water bottles, an optical cube with all our memories. The jackets must have been in Chula's pack. I use the knife from the tool to tear holes on either side of the pack's bottom, and then I slide Miles in and snug the compressor straps around him. In the outer pouches, I cram in 6 diapers. They're lightweight. A spare outfit for Kyla, 3 packets of formula, 2 snack bars, 1 water bottle, and the data cube. It's an old dilemma, weight versus comfort. The multi-tool goes in my back pocket, my only weapon, should I need one. The baby goes on my front. My son rides on my back, a 44-pound load. His head lolls against my shoulder. In the interest of minimizing weight, I remove my prosthesis and add it to the discards on the ground. The hiking pole helps with my new center of gravity. Grief and determination fuel my steps. If I don't survive, neither do they. Chula strides through the tunnel, Miles running alongside. I imagine him whining that his legs are tired. Chula tucks him under an arm, her bicep bulging, but not strained. In this vision, I'm a ghost floating behind them. All goes according to plan, and they escape. Loss and pain are not mine to bear. I don't have to be the strong one. For 12 hours, I walk, trudge, plod, stumble. Every 3 hours, I stop to feed Kyla, half from my breasts, half formula, all of it while standing or kneeling. The yellow thread tucked into my bra draws my gaze as often as my baby's dark eyes. I reach my right hand back to check Miles's pulse and breathing. I slide water into his searing mouth with my fingertips and hope he doesn't dehydrate too much. Things I can manage to think about are time, quantities, and steps. Others I push away. My inevitable failure, Chula, sprawled on the rug, our cold, stiff bodies lying in this catacomb-like space. Should we have stayed in this state? We ask the question at least once a week. I found the patients and guided the van. Chula and the robots performed the abortions. In this place, our life-saving service was punishable by death. We knew the risk. We couldn't lie to ourselves about that. But it wasn't supposed to be me here, dragging our family to safety. Chula contacted the resistance, made the arrangements. We kept my identity secret to better protect the children, whom I carried for the same reason. She had the reputation, a doctor, one with a rare skill. I was a data miner, nothing special about that. At last, a staircase rises ahead. The cables converge upward. My legs weigh more than elephants. Damn elephants. Why do they have to be so massive? Step, step. One more step. I'm through the door into another data center, equally unattended. My phone is dead, but I remember the route to the safe house. I remember most of what I see, a leftover habit from years of wearing glasses and being nearly blind without them. Dawn glows in the eastern sky. It lights our way to a low, sprawling house painted gray with white trim. The side door has an electronic lock. I enter the 8-digit code. A faint click indicates that it works. I stumble inside. A couple emerges from a bedroom. Their alarmed expressions tell me everything about our appearance. A question buzzes through my ears into my head. Chula Smith. I whisper her name as an incantation and sway on the tiled floor, surrounded by walls and furniture and warmth. We're safe, for now. They leave us in a bedroom decorated with faded posters of augmented reality stars. They remind me of my past life, trawling the net for good data, piecing it together like clues in a mystery. The skill came in handy for finding those in need of Chula's services. Most people don't notice the breadcrumb trails they leave on the internet. Miles lies on the single bed, his burns dressed as best as we could, half a bowl of chicken broth coaxed in by small spoonfuls. Kyla and I rest on the floor. An unzipped sleeping bag lies beneath us. My heart, entrapped by its 2 rubber bands, beats with the restless fury of a butterfly in a net. Outside our door, our hosts' voices rise in argument. They gave me code names, Bravo and Foxtrot, and didn't ask for mine, but they know I'm not Chula. Smith is the priority evacuee, not the family, says Foxtrot. We can't make an unscheduled supply run without authorization. 2 more days, they'll last. She has a 4-month-old baby. Bravo sounds upset. And her child needs medical attention more than we can give. And we need to maintain our cover or we're no good to anybody. I don't like it either, but we can't risk everything for a low priority group. Their voices drop away. They use the wrong pronouns for me, but I'm in no position to correct them. Bravo's right. Miles needs a doctor. If Chula were here, she could take care of him. If Chula were here, they'd be on their way to the border already. If Chula were here, if. Kyla whimpers. I sit up to give her my left breast, the better one. I lean against a wall and use my legs to support her body, but it takes time, and she's crying before I'm ready. She's calmer when we switch sides. Her black eyes stare into mine, all serious business, until a smile breaks her suction and lights up her face. I can't help returning it, but I'm thinking, please make enough milk today. Please, for today and tomorrow and the next, until we get out, because we use the last of the formula and it's freshened, and these people don't have a baby, so we can't get more. For 20 minutes after she stops feeding, Kyla is sunshine and roses. When she fusses again, I try to latch her on, but she's having none of it. Her wail brings in our hosts. You need to quiet her down, Bravo says. We're not supposed to have children here. She's hungry, I say. Shame heats my neck and cheeks. Foxtrot frowns. Can't you feed her? I did. I can't make enough for her. I'm out of formula. The two of them exchange a look before leaving the room. This time, their conversation doesn't carry. I imagine Foxtrot saying, "That's one more strike against them. What a useless person. We should send them back to die." So I force my wobbly, spent leg muscles to stand, and I bounce my baby. My right shoulder aches from her weight, and my ghost arm prickles with pain. I rock Kyla through it all until she gives in and sleeps, and then, at last, so do I. To my surprise, Foxtrot tells me the next morning to get ready to leave. I don't question it. We sit in the back of an old gasoline-powered truck, manually driven. Miles is stretched out by my feet, and Kyla hangs in the sling. Empty crates fill the remaining space, hiding us in case anyone opens the doors. This couple imports produce from across the border. Who better to smuggle contraband than someone with legitimate business? We move through the sparse early morning traffic on the slow roads, the ones where you can still drive a vehicle yourself. Through the gaps in the wooden slats, I catch glimpses of posters. Jesus welcomes all. Life is sacred. A righteous husband will provide. Sometimes I only see a few words, but I've memorized them. Chula and Miles's father and I had a marriage, but not one that this state would recognize. Damn, Foxtrot says. The van careens to the right and accelerates. I brace my feet against a crate to keep from sliding. What's happening? I call out. The gap in the cab's rear sliding window lets my voice through. Patrol. We turn sharp left and Miles slides to the right. I grab him before his head hits the wall. Do you have a mobile? I can route you. Foxtrot slides the window further and tosses me a device wrapped in yellow flower print. Our eyes meet for a second. My daughters. Foxtrot's words clip. I launch the map software on a dead girl's phone, unlikely to be traced. If I had my virtual reality headset, I could work faster. I do what I can manually, fingers flying across the screen. Data overlays stack tiny icons. Not my customized versions, but no time for that. I scan for safe zones to hide a truck. A produce warehouse lies 3 miles out of our way. Bonus, we'd pass under a freeway bridge to get there. 2 blocks, then left and an immediate right, I call. By the time Foxtrot makes the right-hand turn, I'm ready with 3 more instructions. And so we dance with our pursuers, avoiding known camera sites and drone zones. This low bandwidth communication is awkward. I would guide Chula's surgical van remotely, directing the auto driver from home. I could avoid patrols and prying electronics without speaking a word. Hard right at the 3-way, I call. Our tires screech and the truck keels, but we keep most of our speed. Foxtrot drives almost as well as an autocar. Second left through a tunnel and then right into the driveway and stop. And that's it. We wait with the engine off. Blood rushes in my ears to fill the silence. My heart beats so fast that Kyla must feel it through the sling. Another truck, similar in shape and size to ours, sits next to us. The mobile's data shows a third one parked beyond. The rolling metal door of a warehouse is in front of us, the words, "Farm Fresh with Love," painted in bold green letters across it. Foxtrot crouches into the wheel well so that they're not immediately visible from outside. I scrunch down and install my custom overlay. Nothing to do now but wait. A drone buzzes past, then another, 10 minutes later. They blip on the mobile screen, little white skull icons. Patience. The sun rises over the warehouse. For 2 miles in each direction, the map is clear of skulls and coffins and machine guns. The icons for tanks and foot patrols. I give us another 15 minutes to be sure. We can't afford much longer, or Kyla will wake for her next feeding before we cross the border. That would end us. Let's go, I say. Foxtrot sits up and starts the engine. I'm grateful for their trust, that I know what I'm doing. As we approach the border station, I rearrange the crates to block us from all sides. I can't see the squat, hard-edged buildings, but I remember them from pictures, their walls studded with cameras. The sun blazes over endless desert. The back of the truck becomes an oven as soon as we stop moving. I peek through the crates to see what's happening. The view isn't good. Documents. A deep voice speaks the word. A hand takes something from Foxtrot, then returns it and says, "Please exit the vehicle for a security pat-down." Smug and cavity search. The truck jostles as Foxtrot exits the cab, out of my view. Does this happen every time? Is this the cost to move us, or a regular part of doing business? A third rubber band snaps into place around my heart and lungs. It's made of rage, and I can't breathe. Heat rushes through me. Keep your hands off my driver. I will rip your goddamn head off and watch the life pour out. I will. Foxtrot climbs back into the cab. Proceed, the guard says. We drive on past 2 barbed wire fences set 100 yards apart, into California and safety. The word tastes bitter in my thoughts. What kind of safe place uses people like that to secure its borders? But on this side, at least the work that Chula and I did would be legal. If I close my eyes, I see her body sprawled in our house. I see the photo of our spouse's body laid out in the desert, a cruel souvenir sent by the border troops. Am I a coward for running away? Should I go back when Kyla is older? No, whispers Chula's voice. No way, whispers our husbands. Keep the children safe. Raise them. We agreed on that when we decided to stay in Arizona, in a house reduced to rubble, in a life burnt to ash. We stop again in half an hour, just as Kyla is beginning to stir. Through gaps, I see single-story ranch house with other small buildings behind it. Foxtrot opens the back gate and moves the crates out of our way. I blink in the sudden brightness. 2 brown-skinned men pull Miles out on a stretcher and carry him toward the house. I force myself to meet Foxtrot's gaze. I'm sorry about the search, I say. Thank you for helping us. The most inadequate words I've ever spoken. Foxtrot nods. Do you have to go back? The question dies before it reaches my lips. I know the answer because I lived it too. I risked my family so that we could help the women who couldn't escape. If the state hadn't found us, we'd still be there. Take care, Foxtrot says. The truck rumbles down a dirt road toward a field lined with vegetables. I follow my son and discover my mother waiting inside. How? They got word to me as soon as you crossed the border, she says, and I got your message before that. I've been waiting nearby, just in case. She opens her arms to me and I sink into them. I'm so sorry about Chula, she says. She doesn't say, I told you so, or how could you do this to your children, or any of the dozen other recriminations I've imagined in her voice. Kyla squirms and fusses sandwiched between us. I need to feed her. Over my mother's shoulder, I see Miles on the bed, his chest rising and falling, his eyelids fluttering. He hasn't woken enough to speak. I wonder what silent price he's paid. Was our work worth the cost of my son's condition, of my spouse's lives? I may never have the answer to that. Maybe none exists. As I feed my baby, the bands that constricted me loosen, enough for regret and sadness and rage to expand. My tears land on Kyla's chest. For now, it's enough that I got us out. The children are safe and alive. I have no desire to consider what comes next. Not yet. Not today. Right now, her survival is all that matters. The end.
That was great, Divya. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got to take a breath for a moment and regroup till we move on. Wow. All right. Laurence Raphael Brothers. Greeting, Laurence. Greetings. Laurence is a writer and a technologist. He's worked in R&D at such firms as Bell Communications Research and Google. He has 5 patents, along with a number of industry publications. His areas of expertise include internet and cloud-based applications, AI, telecom applications, and online games. And he's published many science fiction and fantasy stories and 3 novels. So thank you, Laurence. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to be reading 2 stories tonight. The first, Frozen Heart Homecoming, was originally published by Krypton Radio in April. It turns out to have a surprising resonance with elements of Divya's great story. Oops. There we go. Frozen Heart Homecoming. 14 October 1943, 0930 hours. Bassingbourn Air Base, Cambridgeshire. Mail call. The loudspeaker's garbled announcement brought pilots and crew running from all over the airbase to the Fieldstone Administration Building. I got into line as quickly as I could, but I had to give way to the officers and wound up waiting half an hour before I got my mail. One lousy, thin letter from my father. Not what I was expecting at all. I almost left it for later because I had a mission to prepare for, but I opened it anyway. New York City, October 5th, 1943. Dear son, I hope this mail finds you well. I hope you're killing lots of Nazis. I only wish I could be there doing the same thing as you. I'm afraid your mother is still angry at you because of Luna. To be honest, don't tell her I said this. There's no harm in a little tale now and then, even if it is Irish tale. I almost crumpled the letter right there and threw it away. But I read on. The fact is, I have bad news to tell you. I heard from Sullivan at work that Una was hit by a car Friday night. She didn't make it. I'm sorry. I know you liked her. It's too bad. But at least your mother won't have anything more to blame you for. I bet she sends you mail next time. In that moment, the ball of ice grew around my heart. I could feel it right there, a cold chunk of ice right in the middle of my chest. I let the letter fall to the ground. Una, dead for over a week. It wasn't possible. It wasn't even imaginable. We promised each other. Steinberg, you okay? It was Olivetti, the flight engineer in my bomber. I would have answered him, but in my head I was back in New York 6 months ago. Una met me at the Carnegie Deli for my last day of leave before I shipped out to England to join my squadron. Corned beef was about all the culture we shared, but that was enough for us. She disassembled her sandwich and was eating individual slices of beef with a knife and fork. I was wondering if she'd let me have her pickle when she put down her utensils and leaned across the table. So I put down my sandwich too. She covered my hand with her own and looked very serious. What is it, Una? I won't let you die. She said it very solemnly. Well, yeah? Yeah, she said. I have the sight, you know. The sight? I had no idea what she was talking about. And the reach, too. If you need me, call my name, okay? Promise? Sure, I said. I promise. I'll never leave you. Not for anything. Good, she said, because I'll never leave you either. Not for anything. The guys sitting at the next table started clapping. The applause spread to other tables, and someone shouted, "Kiss her, you fool." So I did, right there in the restaurant, and we wound up not having to pay for our meal. 14 October 1943, 1,400 hours, 25,000 feet over Germany. A row of holes appeared in the plexiglass shell in front of my face. An autocannon round slammed into the back of my turret. The engine roar was overlaid by whistling shrieks from the wind blasting past the holes. Steinberg, get that kraut, you lazy bastard, Lieutenant Rain's voice in my head said. Fuck you, I thought dully, but I squeezed cold metal handles, spinning my turret to track the German fighter. I got off a burst from my guns, but the Messerschmitt was already gone, vanished into the cloud layer below us. No target, I said. I scanned the cloudscape mechanically for enemies, but I didn't care if they were there or not. I was the ball turret gunner in the B-17, Blue Devil. We still had 40 minutes before we got to Schweinfurt, and German interceptors were everywhere. Roll call, said Rains. Everyone okay? 6 of us said our names over the intercom. Matthew, Carl, you all right? No response. A minute later, Olivetti spoke up. They're gone. Waist is shot to hell. Steinberg is lucky to be alive. The waist gunners were stationed in the fuselage above my head. 14-10 hours. 100 fighters attacked their formation, but we drove them off. Or maybe they just ran out of ammo. We took a lot of hits. Olivetti bought the farm along with a co-pilot and a navigator. Rains cursed for 10 minutes straight. The cockpit must have been a terrible mess. I remembered what Una had told me. She promised to keep me safe. It's some kind of Irish magic or whatever it was she said she had. But how could she keep a promise if she was dead? She said she had the sight, but she hadn't seen that, had she? I'd never cared about religion. Took my bar mitzvah to please my folks without ever thinking much about it one way or the other. But now I was sure it was all a lie. All of it. Jewish, Christian, whatever crazy Irish magic she thought she had. It was all bullshit. 1425 hours. Our radio man was hit by a single stray 50 caliber round, probably friendly fire from another bomber. The tail gunner stopped responding on intercom, but the Germans weren't letting up, and no one was left to check his condition. I knew he was dead, though, because there was no more firing from back there. I'd flown a couple of dozen raids, but we'd never been shot up this bad before. If my heart wasn't a ball of ice, I'd have wondered why we weren't quitting. I'd seen half the squadron shot out of the sky around us, and many others had already turned back after taking damage. Raines found another squadron to join, slotted the Blue Devil into formation with them. He was just stubborn, I guess. Then it occurred to me, maybe he lost someone too. Nah, not Raines. He was too obnoxious for anyone to care about him. 1440 hours. It was chaos out there. Smoke and clouds and burning planes from both sides falling out of the sky. I just kept on spinning my turret and shooting when I got a German in my sights. Like I was just a machine, part of the machinery of the turret. I heard that the newer planes, the B-24s, had remote control turrets. I figured that I was doing the same job as remote control, which was okay, because I didn't care any more than a servo cared about what I was doing or why. Pilot the bombardier, approaching target. I could hear the tension in Raines' voice. There was no response. Corey, you all right? A long pause and Raines' drawl came back on the intercom. Fucking Corey. Bled out without saying a word. Guess there's not much more we can do. The Blue Devil banked hard left, turning 180 degrees, heading home. By my count, there are two of us left alive on board, me and Raines. 1455 hours. Just because we decided to quit didn't mean the Germans would let us go. More rounds smashed into the fuselage. A massive impact came from up front, but I couldn't see what caused it because I was facing astern, firing. A German fighter spiraled down into the clouds, trailing black smoke. I squeezed the handles again to turn the turret, and nothing happened. Turret's jammed, I said. Raines, can you come back here and crank it open? No answer. I tried again, still nothing. Intercom lines must be cut. I couldn't do anything myself. The turret hatch had to face straight up before I could get out. And with the motors busted, you could only crank it open from up in the fuselage. It was like a prison cell, an oubliette. Well, except for the panoramic view. Whatever. I'd done my duty. Now I could just sit back and watch the show. For as long as it lasted, anyway. 15 hours. We were descending. Someone had to align the turret, or it would protrude below the landing gear when we touched down. That would be the end for me, and maybe for the bomber, too. Oh well, I thought. Maybe I'll get to see Una soon. But I doubted it. I realized then I'd been putting everything I had into believing in Una. Thinking about her kept me sane through a double dozen missions, not because I was sure she'd save me with magic or whatever, but because she'd promised, and so had I. In my mind, that meant we had to meet up again. We had to. Now we couldn't, so nothing meant anything anymore. But then, I happened to think what she would have said if I told her what would happen. Say I knew it somehow back there in the Carnegie Deli. Say I told her. Una, I said in my head, supposing you die first, how will you save me then? She got angry, which I wasn't expecting. She reached across that rickety deli table, and she took my chin in her hand and looked right in my eyes. I don't break my promises, she said. Dead or alive, I'll keep them. You hear me? In my imagination, I couldn't even speak. I was so full of emotion. I just nodded. If I die first, she said, you'd better live for me. You'd better, damn you. Back in my broken turret, the sheath of ice around my heart shattered like it was hit with a hammer. It hurt now. It hurt bad. 1,700 hours. Through the overcast, gray clouds gave way to open landscape covered with soft green turf. It looked like the fens of Cambridgeshire. Almost home now. Altitude 3,000 feet. Landing gear still up. Still trapped. 2,500 feet. Coming down. Una, I said into the dead intercom. I wish I could see you again. I wish you really could save me. I wish I could have saved you. My turret began to rotate upward. Someone must be cranking it now at the last moment. I could see the grass rushing by below at over 100 miles an hour. Turret, vertical. I flipped the hatch open, yanked myself up. No one was there. The waist was an abattoir. Blood and body parts everywhere. Then we hit ground. I was lying on my back, on the grass. I got up quickly, nearly fell. The Blue Devil looked mostly intact from my vantage behind the wreck. 300 yards of torn up turf showing the landing path. Not bad for gear up. Good thing the land here was so flat. I must have made my way out and then fainted or something. I ran around to the front of the Blue Devil because maybe Rains needed my help. But Rains wasn't there. Nothing was there. The nose of the plane was gone. The cockpit was ripped open like a gaping wound. Maybe a mid-air collision with a fighter? But then I felt a touch on my cheek, and I was sure it wasn't the wind. Una, I said. I couldn't say anything more. Again, the touch on my cheek. Then it was gone. That's the end of the first story. Now, I swear to God, I had no idea Steven Spielberg wrote and directed a TV episode with that same damn premise of a Wedge B-17 bull turret. Because I was so proud of having done the research and come up with the idea until someone told me. Anyway, of course, there's a famous poem that's really relevant to this story, which I'm going to read because it's so much better than the story. Don't worry, it's short. This is the poem, The Death of the Bull Turret Gunner by Randall Jarrell. From my mother's sleep, I fell into the state, and I hunched in its belly till my wet fur froze. 6 miles from Earth, loosed from its dream of life, I woke to black flak and the nightmare fighters. When I died, they washed me out of the turret with a hose. Okay. This next piece is called The Freighter, appearing originally courtesy of the Liars League of New York at the KGB Club in January 2019. This is a science fictional retelling of the song Pirate Jenny from Threepenny Opera, specifically Nina Simone's superb version. Here we go. The Freighter. It's a dirty little tavern on a dirty little station, circling a dirty little world. Just a job until something better comes along. You missed the spot, says Gerhard, the owner, and he pours out the dregs of a sleeping drunk's gin. Coriolis force pulls the stream out into an arc before it splashes on the floor. That's how crummy a station this is. Despite all the transuranics that pass through this place, they can't even afford gravity generators. The place actually spins. Everyone laughs, but I don't say anything, just mouth to spill up with my rag. Someone slaps my ass when I bend over, but the silicone is old and hard and he hurts his hand. I can tell because I hear the yelp, but I don't react. Sometimes, when no one is watching, I stare out the viewport into the dirty space around the station, wondering when it will happen, if it will happen. I sent the call long ago, but anonymized interstellar message delivery takes forever. Hey Gerhard, a regular asks, why don't you refurbish her? In her prime, she must have been hot. Kind of a waste to use a gynoid for nothing but cleaning and making beds. J3Ns have been obsolete for centuries, says Gerhard. Of course, you might not mind her as is. Let me know and we can negotiate a fee. There's general laughter, but it doesn't bother me. I know it's been many years since any human could possibly have found me attractive. That kind of work hasn't interested me in a long time. Later, while I'm cleaning up the back room, another regular approaches me, Helmut, who runs a repair shop on the station. He's a middle-aged man with a lined face set in a perpetual expression of sadness. Or perhaps resignation is the best way to describe it. I'm sorry for what Gerhard makes you do, he says. It makes me sick, the way he treats you like a thing. But I know your model is full sentience. I'm taken aback. Can he possibly be serious? It's not right, he says. You could buy me, I say. I tell myself I'm testing him and myself. Helmut blanches. Buy you as a slave? My labor contract, I say. It's much the same thing. I could work at your shop. I'm handy with machines, you know. He bows his head. I pushed him too far, as expected. I'm sorry, he says. I have so little. I couldn't afford. It's nothing, I say. I understand. He's red-faced now. Helmut presses some coins into my hand. A few lousy stern marks, and lets me get on with my work. Months pass. I spend more and more time staring out the viewport. Regulars in the tavern notice, but they don't know what I'm looking for. Once or twice, I even visit traffic control during off-shift downtime, as if the arrivals list would tell me anything. Pathetic, really. At last it happens, when I'd almost given up hope. I can see the freighter coming in on its approach. They stand off a kilometer from the station, broadcasting a yellow flag signal, quarantine warning, a good excuse not to dock. My comm beacon is an internal module. Just as well there are no spare parts here on the station to refurbish me, or someone like Helmut might have found it. Once turned on, station security will notice the unauthorized high-power transmission. I activate the beacon, wondering if it'll work, wondering if I'll even survive to be arrested. To be honest, I don't much care either way. Hey, Jenny, says Gerhard, what are you grinning at? Nothing, I say. Nothing you need to worry about. Are you talking back to me? Menacing. I force my plastic lips into a grimace. No, sir, I say, bowing my head. But it's my little joke. No need to be demure anymore. Good, he says. And then the panels in the freighter retract, revealing the laser arrays, the missile pods, the matte black hull of the Corsair within. No one else in the tavern sees it. They're looking at the wall screen, watching some old musical recorded on Earth centuries ago. Okay, says Gerhard, we might as well get started making up the rooms for the next shift. No need. What? Double take. No need for made beds here. No need to clean up. Not ever again. What the hell? Are you crazy? I shake my head and point out through the viewport at the freighter. Firing has already commenced. The first impact is felt rather than heard. Hull breach in Sector 2. Alarms are going off now, and there's panic in the room. People are screaming. No one is even looking at me anymore. I laugh out loud. Doesn't matter anymore what they think of me. The truth will be out soon enough, if we survive the initial assault. Hull breach in Sector 3, in Sector 4, Sector 5, Sector 6, 7, 8. The announcements are coming so quickly, they're overlapping. We're in Sector 9. Oh, God! Someone has figured it out. We're next. Hull breach in Sector 10. Or not. Looks like the beacon worked. All station defenses have been reduced. It only took a few seconds. And now the assault shuttles are launching, docking at Sector 1, where the transuranics are stored in the secure vault, the one rigged to self-destruct if it's tampered with. Station management figured that little trick would dissuade pirates if they publicized it. The next 5 minutes could be dicey if anyone pays attention to them. They have other things on their minds. A few of the patrons flee the tavern, but where they think they're going, I have no idea. Most stay huddled by the bar. A few more explosions rock the station, communicated through the hull. And then at last, the door opens. 4 warders in black space armor appear, the skull and crossbones gleaming gold in their chests, plasma burners out and ready to fire. Don't move, comes the instruction, voiced through an external speaker. harsh and lovely. Inevitably, someone moves. It's Helmut. I'm still carrying the coins he gave me. The pirate swats him casually across the face with the barrel of his gun, and Helmut goes down. Good work, Jenny, says the pirate. Your code's worked. The vault is ours. I nod at them. The tavern inmates goggle at me. At last they realize what I really am. Helmut is moaning now, scrabbling at the pirate's armored boot in an attempt to get up. He spits out a tooth and a dollop of blood, and the pirate pulls back in disgust. What about this lot? He asks me. Should we torch them, or would you rather do it? He hands me his plasma burner. I take it, a heavy weight on my arms, cold with exposure to space and hot with charged hypercapacitors at the same time. I stalk over to Helmut. The tavern patrons are paralyzed, watching me like a family of mice frozen before a snake, choosing one of their number to devour. But the truth is, I'm hesitating. I've been a servant here too long. I remember now. I told myself I'd never let it happen again. That's why, but still, this man tried once. Perhaps I nudged the shopkeeper with my foot. This is his chance. I can make him my cabin boy or just dump him at the next free port we stop at. Helmut, I say, but the fool whimpers and tries to stumble away. One of the pirates laughs and kicks his legs out from under him, and the shopkeeper hits the floor again. I kneel beside the man. Look at me, Helmut. See what I am. But he turns his head away, hunched over on the floor, as if not looking will somehow save him. Seeing him there, seeing that abject display, it sickens me. I'm glad I'm not human now. So I pull the trigger. I burn a hole right through his body, right through the floor, almost through the outer hall. His face relaxes as blood pools around his corpse. No more sadness, no more resignation for Helmut, and no more pathetic simulation of humanity for me. I reach into my pocket and scatter coins over the body, paying my debts. And then I hand the gun back to the pirate. I look deliberately at Gerhard, but he won't meet my gaze either. Kill them, I say. Kill them all. Later, the station goes up in a thermonuclear blast, with 4 secondary detonations and a tetrahedral array around the core to make sure no fragments survive intact with data-readable memory elements. And the ship, the black freighter, disappears into space. And on it is me. It's the end. So this one, let me just paste in Nina Simone's link here. Because like the first one, for which the poem was probably a lot better than the story, I'm pretty sure this song is a lot better too. So I hope you enjoy it. It's one of the most powerful things she's done over a long, powerful career.
Oh, it was a terrific read, terrific story. Thank you. Great couple of stories and great reading by Divya as well. What an evening. Really nice work, folks. Thanks. And thanks, as always, to my co-host, Laura Blackwell. Next week, our guest authors are going to be Rebecca Gomez-Farrell and Laura Davey. So don't miss it. It's going to be a great evening. Thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you for coming back to Story Hour every week. This has been really fun. And we'll see you next time. Stay safe. And see you soon. Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.